Welcome to From a Certain Point of Skew, the fastest growing Star Wars podcast in the new era, and the only Star Wars podcast brave enough to execute Order 69 from inside a Tauntaun.
69
I am
or 66?
Your host, the Angry Ginger, and I'm coming to you from inside Wookiee Poo Studios, and I'm going to introduce your favorite wretched scum, scoundrels, and smugglers, Neighbor Cole.
Yeah, I'm down here in the newly christened Wookiee Poo Studios.
That's
I
right.
like that. I like the name change. That was a nice. Was that on the fly, or did you decide to?
I think it was on the fly last week.
And you just brought
now
it.
I've got to get down to the .com. I got to go to GoDaddy. I got to own all of the Wookiee
you need to have
names.
It.
Yeah,
you need to have it. Yeah,
it's got to happen.
Yeah, I am Neighbor Cole from Corellia, apparently, and I'm surrounded by Lothal cats in the studio here, and I'm
everywhere.
fending them off with my feet.
Here's how you deal with them: hiss back at them.
Okay, yeah. So if you hear random hissing through the show, that's me. Right. We have a third marker coming in from the Skype lines. Darth Mathias, welcome to the show, buddy.
Thank you. I just wanted to start off by saying I'm still buzzing over this episode, and I can't wait to talk about it. I would say, Favloni, you done did it again.
Dude, that's why I'm fumbling over my words. I just want to get to this. Like, we've got all this junk, this pre-show shit. I need to geek out. Like,
we can change our order if you want.
At pre-show, you're like, oh, we got nothing to talk about. And I was like, yeah, you're right. Only 7 hours of coolness to...
I'm glad you guys are buzzing off of the show, because I'm still buzzing from Thanksgiving, personally.
From the food?
Yeah.
And the beer?
Food coma, beer coma, spatchka, all that, you know.
Well, happy Thanksgiving to everyone.
Yeah, happy Thanksgiving to all our American friends. I would say go to our website if you want information about the show or catch all our old episodes from acertainpointofskew.com, and please check us out on Twitter at FACPA Pod, F-A-C-P-A Pod.
Yeah, you can also email the show too, factpapod@gmail.com.
I forgot that one.
It's all right. I got you covered, buddy. Second mic duties.
All right, even though I'm complaining about all the stuff on the show, for you, you've got a big show ahead of you. We've got a Darksaber giveaway, but we're going to give you the deets on how to win that at the end of the show this week. So if you've come for all the information on that, if you've seen the pictures on Twitter or any of the social medias, and you're like, well, how do I win this Darksaber? We're going to tell you. Just hold off. Let us geek out about this episode, and then toward the end, we'll tell you how you can win the Darksaber. Question of the week, fellas. There's one written down, I believe, by Matt, and then I threw one in there. Which one would you like to do? Someone just read one off.
You go ahead. You do the one that you picked. We'll save mine.
Oh, it wasn't like I picked one. I just threw one in there.
Let's do yours.
All right. Would you rather, fellas, would you rather be a slave Leia to Jabba or dip your toes in the Sarlacc pit?
How long are you the slave Leia?
Well, this is it. I mean, you are the slave Leia, and it's not like you are slave Leia. You, Cole, are in a slave Leia costume chained to Jabba the Hutt.
Okay, yeah. Okay. So, like, that's my permanent lot in life?
Yes.
Like, okay. Yes. Well, then this is a no-brainer. I'll lose some toes in the Sarlacc pit.
Well, I mean, is that all you're going to lose? I mean, it's a,
What's a
trade-off.
What type of existence would it be chained to that?
Well, every once in a while, you might be able to, like, grab a droid going by with a cocktail on its tray, you know?
There's an abundant supply of bulgy eye frogs to feast on. Yeah. if I can catch them napping.
Maybe you and Salacious Crumb can tell jokes back and forth while Jabba's out cold. Who knows? Who knows what's going to happen?
Well, I do know his weakness. I can always choke him with a chain, right? Just get behind him, choke him with his chain.
That's true.
I've got some experience with that.
Yeah, if that skinny lass can choke him out, you've got some muscle behind you.
Yeah. No, I'm going to go with the Sarlacc pit. I'll lose the toes. I'll take my chances with being able to dodge the tongue.
Yeah?
Maybe, and see what happens.
It's not like you to dodge a tongue, though.
No, I go right at it.
Yeah.
Wow. I face that corroded tongue head on. How about you, Matt?
See, I think if you dip your toes, it's going to get you and pull you all the way in, and you're going to die that slow death and be, digested over centuries or whatever it is that C-3PO says. So I think you go slave Leia, and you do exactly what you just said. You just make a play to try to kill him. And if you die, oh well, better than dying by the Sarlacc.
Well, yeah, you would say that because you'd look fabulous in that outfit.
Thank you. I've been working out.
Yeah, he does got a slimmer frame.
He does. He's the show stud.
But he doesn't have the hair. I don't think he can pull it off.
No, I don't.
Yeah. Although that washcloth in the front and back of you would, I think the listeners, yeah, I want to see some show art right now.
Maybe it'll be like some what is it called? Is it Stockholm syndrome? What is it where you like start to have
feelings for your
feelings captor? For your captor? Yeah, maybe I'll all of a sudden warm up to Jabba and be like, he's not that bad. He does a lot of good things.
Well, I think that's what Jabba's hoping for, right? Because I feel like these slaves don't last very long, so it's just like one of these bitches are just going to fucking, ready to tie the knot.
Well, yeah, you're going to get dropped through that trap door and get eaten by that monster.
The Rancor.
So,
the Rancor.
Yeah, it's not his fetish. Stop trying to choke him out.
So, no, I was thinking maybe we got a new challenge for our favorite lightsaber builder. With the Slave Leia costume.
Oh no.
I don't know if he'll draw the line at that. Yeah, hey, I did have that shout out though. We do have to give Dave a shout out because we've at least 1 or 2 weeks now we've kind of begged for the in the garage George Michael from Arrested Development playing with his lightsaber, and he came through for us once again. Not only does he build lightsabers, but he models them too.
Models them in the pink robe.
Yep.
I think the pink robe was a great touch. I was trying to tell him it's just the lightsaber would be fine. You guys were really going hard on the shirtless thing, but I thought that was a nice happy medium.
Well, hard being the key word.
Diamond and Ice Storm.
Great job, Dave.
Should I answer this? Would you rather? I think, for shits and giggles, and because, the audience really wants to see a ginger in a bikini, I'll go Slave Leia. Why not?
There you go.
Yeah. And I will work it. I will work that whole barge when he takes me out. Jabba, you never take me anywhere.
Maybe he'll get sick of you. That could be your tactic. You just annoy the shit out of him. He's get out of here.
Yeah, he's perfect at that. He can probably annoy the shit out of people.
Yeah, Cole's had a carpool with me for years. He's ready to let me go. All right, we've got some news bits here. There's 3 things. Well, I threw a 4th one in here, so let's run through these not as quick as possible. I mean, we're not in any hurry to get to anything special, but there's a lot going on here. First of all, I threw a little bit of news. It's not really news, but I thought it was pretty funny that we talked about Jeans Guy last week. That was in the Grief Karga episode, and apparently he's been digitally altered out. There's already a Mandalorian special edition episode.
Yeah, rest in peace. I was thinking about the fact that I just started reading that the A New Hope version of the A Certain Point of View books with my youngest kid. And there's just, I think we talked about it a little bit before, all the stories. It's kind of these one-offs. So far they talk about like Captain Antilles on Leia's ship, like what he went through. Okay. And it gets so silly, like the level of, like they literally, one of the stories that we've only got through like 5 of them. One of them so far is a guy who is like a data worker who tries to help the guy who said, don't shoot at the escape pod. It's just, there's no life forms. That guy's like worried he's going to get nailed. And so he's trying to help him cover his tracks. Like that's the level of storytelling that they're doing in these books. It's so funny. So I was thinking maybe there's going to be a Mandalorian version of this book and Jeans Guy will get his full story.
Oh, he's going to. I mean, if the ice cream guy can get a whole story told about him on the gallery, then this Jeans Guy, he's gonna live in infamy. He is.
Yeah,
like
of course.
And then have you ever seen the shot? Like there's a shot where it shows Carl Weathers like directing a scene, and you can see the guy sitting in the table, all kicked up, and it's like there's arrows pointing to his jeans.
Yes.
Yeah. Maybe he should. I don't know why the jeans company haven't jumped all over this. Like Levi's getting him modeling a new pair of jeans.
Yeah, right. Like get yourself a pair of Mandalorian special jeans.
Yeah, the 501s, the 501st.
There you go. See, Levi, call us. Idea. We've already got ideas for you. Yeah, we're marketing gurus. I tell you.
Yeah.
Also, there's an image I sent out earlier to our chat room that someone has already, and I feel like this isn't spoilers. If you're listening to this, you've already watched the show and you're looking for the recap and a little bit of fun that we're going to have with this. But someone has already digitally included Baby Yoda into the scene from the Clone Wars where Anakin walks in to slaughter all of the younglings. It's like Baby Yoda peeking out from behind a chair.
That was from Revenge of the Sith, not Clone Wars.
Oh, my bad. Yes, you're right.
Sorry,
you're right.
Though. No problem.
40%. That's all I can give you.
That was hilarious. It's so perfectly in there that it almost looks real.
He's just sitting in one of the chairs and he's kind of poking out. What's going on over here?
I'm waiting for them to do that because they already added Malarkey, or what did they add into the
McClunky?
McClunky. Yep. So it's happening. I mean, they just free will to go in there and just fix shit every 2 weeks.
Lucas loves to edit shit, so I'm sure he'll work Baby Yoda in there somewhere.
I don't think Lucas has any hands on this anymore. That'd be great though if he had a key to the back door of the editing bay. He's just always going in there swapping shit out.
Throws Jar Jar in there. I thought it was
I'm going to edit this real quick and count my 4 billion.
Yeah, right. Master Tinkerer.
Right. With the payoff, he got a key to the back room. Just go in there and play with whatever you want.
It's in his contract.
People notice.
Yeah, I need a key to all editing rooms.
Yep.
Anything Star
I've
Wars
been
related.
I've been on that campus of Skywalker Sound or Skywalker Ranch.
Shut the fuck up.
Which we'll get to at some point.
Shut the fuck up.
Maybe we'll even have somebody on who knows a lot about it. But they have like a room that's got all this archive shit in it that you cannot go anywhere near.
Like I can't, or anybody can't.
Correct.
Oh.
Like I don't think very many people have access to that room. It's like this tucked away. It's hilarious.
Is it like one giant fire safe?
Yeah, it's got this gigantic combination lock on it.
Yeah.
It only goes to 10 though. It's pretty easy to guess. No, it's just that when our friend Annalise was kind of giving me the tour, she was like, yeah, there's a bunch of old like footage stuff in there that we don't even have access to. Like we can't go in there. So it's kind of funny.
There's like a whole nother movie that's just sitting on film somewhere.
It's another holiday special.
Yeah,
somewhere.
another holiday special. Yeah, there was
Wrapping
a sequel they never released.
But well, yeah, exactly. Oh God, it's like a Valentine special.
Yeah.
But at some point in the off season, after Mandalorian's done and all that stuff, we'll try to get Annalise in the show because I think it would be fun to have her on and talk a little bit about that where she works.
I agree. And then you'll hear me. There'll probably be a lot of begging and crying.
If you show up, she'll take you there.
I know.
Well, now it's probably tough, but in normal circumstances, that she can arrange those things. It's great.
Yeah, now you have to wear a stormtrooper helmet if you're a guest.
Oh, I did that last time. I thought that was required.
Okay.
Oh no, this isn't my friend. I don't know this guy.
Please take it off, Matt. Please take it off.
Can't see with this thing on.
All right. In other news, we've got some Boba Fett information here. Anyone want to click on the link, but we've got another actor is signed on, and we talked about an actress that was hired a week or two ago that was speculated that she was hiring on to this show. So it looks like they're gearing up that this is going to be the next big first spinoff, I guess.
Yeah, I mean it's the Jordan Bolger.
Mm-hmm.
I guess how you say that name. I'm not real familiar with him, but they said he's like a co-lead, so one of the major roles on the show. And they also mentioned in the process of talking about this that the series is supposed to be set between Return of the Jedi and Mandalorian. So it's not so whatever we're seeing in the Mandalorian now isn't necessarily a setup going forward. It's actually we're going to go back and find out what happened to him between that time frame.
I feel like some of this has to be speculation though, because it's not like Disney's like handing out information like, oh, this is. I feel like they're probably right because we don't know what happened, so there's probably a lot of backstory, and then the guess is that that's to lead Boba Fett into whatever happens in season 3 of The Mandalorian or anything else. But it just seems kind of we're already going to spend maybe a lot of time on Tatooine with Kenobi. And then if we're going to just spend more time on Tatooine. Now, it makes sense because they've talked about this before, like even when George Lucas was going to make the underground what's
the Coruscant, underworld thing?
Yeah, the underworld show, and they got all the scripts and everything. That was one of the things is they were trying to make a TV show where they could reuse some of the set pieces and stuff. So it's like that's where Disney could save money with this is they can reuse set pieces or I guess like the digital framing and stuff that works for the volume and stuff. But so obviously I'm sure Tatooine makes sense for a lot of this, but still, like I mean, we've been on Tatooine twice with the Mandalorian. We're going to spend some time on Tatooine with Kenobi. Now more with Boba Fett. So there's got to be some other things.
Jakku's pretty much Tatooine on another planet. So
right, yeah. It was, yeah, exactly.
They like the desert scenes in Star Wars.
They really do.
The shifting sands.
And now they don't have to go there and shoot. So there's not 30 days where they have to deal with dust storms and they can't shoot.
This Jordan Bolger guy, he's the two things I could kind of be familiar with are Peaky Blinders. He played in the TV series Peaky Blinders, and the 100. He was also in that.
Yeah.
This TV series as well.
Oh, okay.
So he's not like a really big draw or a huge name, but he's been in a couple of TV shows. Yeah.
Now I'll have a celebration to go to every year as whatever character he plays. I love like we'll get into in a minute. Like Michael Bihn's going to be in The Mandalorian, and then we get to this episode and it's like, oh wow, good job, Michael Biehn.
We'll get to that.
Yeah,
but
no headset.
But that was definitely one that I was waiting for and very excited for. And then when he showed up, it took me a second to realize it was him.
I didn't either until I didn't know it was him until they got outside the gate, and I was like, oh hey. I know who that is. So yeah, they're doing some casting for that. And then speaking of casting, there's some more roles rumored for the Obi-Wan series, and there's 3 actresses that are being looked at right now, and the big notable one, I guess, would be the one that's most recognizable. What's her name? But she was
Naomi
Jasmine.
Scott?
Naomi Scott. She was Jasmine in the Aladdin remake.
There's 4 roles they listed. So there's Riley, who's a co-lead, and that's who they think these 3 gals are going for. There's Tia, Harold, and Bella. So there's quite a few. I love it because it says Harold supporting late 20s, early 30s, quirky comedic male. Yeah, because they never cast guys like that in Star Wars.
They also mentioned that these names may just possibly be placeholders at this point in time, of course. Right. So like, there's not like, don't take that to heart or anything. But yeah, it looks like there's 3 girls, 3 ladies, and a male. So.
Correct. Yeah. So it's cool to see that that's starting to come together that much.
I'm excited. I'm excited for all of this. As we discuss this breakdown, I think there'll be some more talk about some of these series coming out. And then last but not least, Disney has put out the information that beginning the week after The Mandalorian ends, we're going to get a second season of The Gallery.
Yeah.
Which I'm just as excited for as I am the second season of this show.
Yeah, last time we had to wait like 5 months before they came out with it. So
right.
To do it right away was really interesting. And if they do it the same way they did last year, or this past year, I guess we're all still in that same year. We're still in 2020, aren't we? Fuck.
Yeah. It's only been 10 years.
It was, they released one a week for 8 weeks. So,
right.
So if that happens in the same manner, which you'd assume it would, then this will run us through like January, February timeframe. So more stuff for us to talk about.
Exactly.
They loved our review so much that they're going to do a season 2.
Right.
Yeah. That's what it was. That's what put it over the top.
We're going to have Favloni on sometime during that as well.
It's a guy named Bob Favloni.
Yeah. He just happens to
the
bring
grocery
us a
store.
pizza.
What is it? Bob Iger? Last name.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, the president of Disney. Yeah. Or was.
This happens to be the guy that cuts our meat at Meijer.
So there you go. There's the news. Look for that. Casting-wise, you're going to see a bunch of new shows. We've talked about it a billion times. Now, let's get into this.
Chapter
Hold
13.
on. One quick thing I just want to note.
But I don't want to hold on.
Especially for you, Jay.
Okay.
The Art of Star Wars, The Mandalorian book from Phil... Is it Zostak? I don't know how you say his name.
It's got a bunch of vowels in the name.
Yeah. Sneak of them. That book is coming out on Tuesday. So the day after whatever this episode drops, it's all that concept art. So it's all the stuff that you've seen from the end of the episodes of The Mandalorian. And then it also kind of gets into the storytelling of each person and each concept artist and how they worked through the different designs that they came up with. And one of the things that was interesting, I saw an interview with him I think it was on StarWars.com, where he was talking about how Favreau works a lot like Lucas did, which is, again, very collaborative. So like he'll come to the concept designers and say, I'm thinking about some characters like this, and they might be doing this. And then they'll go draw some shit, and they'll bring it back to him. He's like, okay, cool. And that'll feed into what he's thinking about for his story. So the two are in lockstep the whole way, instead of just saying, here's the plot of the story, go draw something. So that's why I think when you see the end of these episodes and the concept art looks so close to what we actually just saw in the episode, it's because of that. It's because those things are intertwined the whole way,
feeding
so
off
that
each
the
other.
actual artwork is influencing the actual storytelling itself, which I thought was really cool.
And fuckers are going to make some money off me because I'm going to buy 2 of them books.
I knew you're going to get one.
Yep.
Well, you joked about how you're going to go in the store and just rip the pages out.
Yeah, I'm just going to say, I'm going to rip the pages out and put them on the wall. It's so beautiful.
Yeah. Just take pictures with your phone and then have them.
There we go.
Just have them printed.
Just have them as screensavers. I don't print pictures of my kids, but I've got 2 Star Wars books of concept art laying around.
You have like one of those wallet photos of Ahsoka or something.
Yeah. While we're at it, ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know how to say her name, it is Asoka. Right?
Yeah, that's right.
Emphasis on the shh.
Yeah. You shut your mouth.
Just throw an S in there if you want.
Ahsoka. Okay, let's get into this. Chapter 13, titled The Jedi, directed by none other than, directed and written by Wolf, Filoni, Trapper.
That's right.
I say, okay, I got some stuff in the notes. Let's give this boy some credit before we get into this episode because, hands down, he has. We've discussed how much George Lucas he is, but it almost is, and I even wrote it in a cheesy way, but for real, he has gone from the Padawan to the master. He is brought in Lucas always talked about when he was first creating this stuff that it was Akira Kurosawa was a big influence of his, the samurai stuff and then the westerns, and you see a lot more I think the western themes than the Kurosawa stuff. But this episode like opens up with that shot that like you feel like you're in like space feudal Japan, like immediately.
Totally.
And the fog and the trees and like everything. I'm just looking at this. I was like, holy shit! And then it just goes from there. And I mean, they've mixed the themes for the years, and I think even Lucas has talked about that. Where like even what is it? Damn it, the title's going to escape me now. But what's the big Kurosawa film that everyone talks about? And then they redid it in the American version.
Shogun?
No, it was. Damn it. Anyways, the Americanized version of it was The Magnificent Seven.
Okay.
They've gone back in there, and Lucas has talked about taking different themes from those types of movies, and is what A New Hope pretty much was built off of. And like you just see Filoni taking like all of that and like putting it all on the screen. Like, you know, he got to play with everything that he's ever had his co-creator touch on. Gets like a little bit of, you know, dab in here as well. Like the guy is just everything in this. Like it just there's got to be things in this that like, I'm venturing to guess that there's things in this episode that even we probably didn't pick up on yet. But it's so multi-layered. It's insane.
Yeah, it's really dense. There's a lot of stuff going on. And what did I say? Odd numbered episodes, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
You called that right at the beginning.
There's a lot of stuff to love about this episode. Just overall quick thought is just that I love that they hit you in the face with Ahsoka right off the bat. I love that there's no, are we going to see her? It's just boom, first scene, she's right there.
Yeah.
And you kind of can't believe it. I have a couple little minor gripes that I'll get to. They're very minor.
You should have no gripes. You shut your mouth.
I have just a couple minor gripes.
All right.
And then of course leading up to kind of that big bomb dropped at the end, toward the very end, which I was watching it actually with my lady friend, which normally I watch by myself, but she was up and wanted to watch. And I think I said out loud, "Oh shit, we're doing this." I said that as that bomb dropped at the end. But also tons of new music. Like we got a lot of Ahsoka's theme back from the animated shows. There was kind of that Shakespearean touch on the Mando theme toward the end. And you got some hot saber action. So I think in the end it had it all.
I didn't expect to see this much lightsaber action. Like I thought we'd just see like, you know what, I'm gonna show these bad boys off and look like a badass. But there were so many badass shots. So the first thing we see, you know, all the fog in the woods, and we see these like, you know, whatever, these military type guys running through there shooting fire, and she's coming through like the fucking boogeyman. Like,
yes,
just slicing people. Sabers go out. She disappears into the fog, reappears. Like she's just like annihilating everyone. And it reminded me of, it was like Filoni watched Rise of Skywalker and was like, I could do this better, because it opens up like where Kylo's on Mustafar and he's just like wiping everyone out in the woods, you know?
Yeah.
But it's just like slow motion, and he's just punching people instead of using his saber. And she's like, "Oh yeah, I'm just gonna cut y'all in half."
Some really cool lightsaber work in this episode, and some of the coolest shit in the entire the gong scene where she cuts the gong in half. Like that was like, oh, you know, there's a dude back there with his entrails just spilling out, but you know, it's Disney, so they can't show it. But right off the bat, like I got the feel from these not even stormtroopers, these masked guys with the breathing apparatus with the sniper rifles blasters.
Yeah, there's a bit of smog.
They reminded me of like just Chernobyl troops, like they're walking around Chernobyl with these gas masks on. I'm like, what the hell's going on here? I felt like they were on some poisoned planet off the bat.
And there's even some explanation to that as we get into it about like why the planet looks like that. But I mean, it's dying. Like all of the, you know, it's basically a burnt down dying forest. You just see like these creatures in the background, you know, trying to find whatever food they can, chewing on the bark. She rolls up to the gates and she's just like, okay. She basically wants some information, and the woman, what is her name? Morgan Elsbeth will find out, the magistrate of the town, and she's just like, well, how much is this information worth? 1, 2, 100, you know? And so of course she's like, I'll give you 1 day to change your mind.
Yeah.
And then she like goes and lives out in the woods. Like, what is she doing? And then he's like, when Mando rolls up to town, which she's going to land in just a second, you know, and when he goes and finds her, he's like, well, these are the coordinates. And I'm like, there's nothing out here. Like, they know where she is, but they're just like, well, we're not going to go out there and get her.
She's got She's got to have like a Yoda shelter somewhere. Like, you know, like a little Yoda,
I got
Jedi
that like
hut.
Dagobah feeling out of the whole thing.
Yeah, like
right?
a little, I don't know, looks like an igloo, but made out of stone.
Yeah.
Mud hut.
I think it was when Bean, who's, I guess I found out his name's Lang in the show.
Yes.
when he first starts talking to her, I believe, that's when I went, oh shit. Like, because I kind of had completely forgotten about the fact that he was supposed to be in the season at all because I was so locked in on the story and where it was going. So when I saw him, I was like, sweet. And in my mind, the death clock started ticking. I'm like, well, he's going to die at some point. So how long will it take? Michael Biehn always dies.
He's never made it out of a series.
Never
made it out of a movie.
He does have like some screen presence though, and I really think that's why he was used.
I was thrown off so hard by that. Like I looked to her right, and I'm like, "Is that Michael?" I'm trying to like look from her perspective. I'm like, "Is that Michael Biehn?" I'm trying to figure out who that is. And then his voice, like he almost had like a weird accent at first. Like,
oh, really?
I thought like that can't be him. And then like he started talking a little more and got a little bit more comfortable. I think. Maybe I just heard it.
He's definitely
He
aged.
almost sounds like he's got marbles in his mouth or something. He doesn't sound crisp. Let's just say that.
Doesn't sound like he could lead a SEAL team into Alcatraz to rescue hostages.
Well, and you mentioned kind of that samurai feel. Like that's what it felt like. Her darting in and out in the quiet and in that opening scene. It was just so cool. I could watch her fight for 30 minutes straight, just watching her do all those moves. It was so awesome to see all that stuff.
I will say, like, it felt like 30 minutes the first time because I was just like, oh, they're starting out right away? Like, we haven't seen lightsabers. We haven't seen a Jedi. Nothing in this show. And, like, Filoni, I think, was more excited than us. He's like, oh, yeah, we're just going to open up and she's going to lay to waste everyone in the forest.
Yeah, from the ringing of the bell all the way into that scene. I mean, it just jumps right in so quickly. And then gripe number one.
Oh,
her hair. So when I first saw her take the robe top off, you know, when she revealed her face, her hair and whatever it's called, what do they call it? The head tails or whatever they're called.
Yeah.
It was a little off-putting because, and I knew it was going to be difficult to pull it off. Given what we saw in animation, I was like, that's a tough look to make, live action. So when I saw it at first, I thought, is there some weird like combination animation live action thing going on with her whole face right now? And then I realized, no, it's all her. It's just that the head looks a little bit off. And as you go along through the episode, you see like these creases. It looks like foam.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it looks like they've like some form of skin or something. Like you see the creases, like it's aged.
Oh, almost like your elbows or something.
I liked that it had like a weathered look, that she looks a little older. I did read that they had to make them a little shorter.
And some people are very upset about that.
Stunt work and stuff. Yeah, it just didn't.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh,
some people are not happy with that length of her, and I'm like, come on. Otherwise, and we'll get to it more. She nails that character so well. Her mannerisms, her look, the way she looks at things, the way it's so good.
It is perfect. Like I don't think there's been better fan casting. And Filoni's got to the first time he shot it, he had to have gone somewhere and just wept for days. It's like, oh my God, it's real.
I brought her to life. It's like Frankenstein finally brought his creation to life. It's insanity.
Okay, so let's get into this a little bit. So the Razor Crest lands after he tells him to go sit in a seat. Yoda, Baby Yoda. We'll get to the name in a minute. He's using the Force and he wants that little orb. Does anyone ever think that little thing, the stick shift, looks like the mini Death Star?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. It does. And while that scene was going on, I'm thinking they're really taking a lot of time with this. Why? And then later on,
pays off.
You realize why they took so much time with it. Yeah.
Did you guys notice the radar gun on Razor Crest? Like a shout out to is either A New Hope or no? Actually, shout out to Return of the Jedi. When the Imperial shuttle's coming in, they got the guy in the tower, the rebel guy out there, shooting him with the radar gun.
Yeah.
It was like it is A New Hope. It's the Yavin shot.
Right.
The guy's in that tower.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, well, you still get speeding tickets in Star Wars.
Well, it's funny because they do it and then they look down and it almost looks like that's like that shit doesn't register. I don't know who the hell that is. It's off the grid.
Yeah, right. It is. Yeah,
it's like a QR code reader.
They're reading his license plate.
Right. Beep.
So yeah, speaking of the little knob, Yoda comes, Baby Yoda comes walking down the ramp, and I told you this stays on the ship, and he puts it into his pocket, and I've got him, he puts him in his baby burlap sack of fun, which we're now going to nickname the BBSF because we've lost the other one. Apparently, there's no more carriage.
Right. Mobile defense carriage.
Yeah, ruins my day, man. And they make their way to the city gates.
I had a little PTSD, by the way, with the environment of the planet because it looked like it looked here when we were having all our forest fires. It's like the sun was kind of blotted out and everything was just real misty and hazy. took me back.
Now
to a
we'll
dark
find
place.
out that that's when they shot all the exterior scenes in California. It was
Right.
really-
Oh no.
And then this is where you kind of get the telling of how nice this magistrate is. She's got these 3 prisoners out in these crucifixion cages where like
I know.
they got to stand upright at attention, and if they move like even the slightest microbe of an inch or whatever, they immediately get zapped by their surroundings. I'm
You
like,
can see their skeletons.
yeah, like this
That
girl.
was freaky.
You can tell right away, like foreshadowing the ruler of this town is a harsh one.
It's like the old medieval things where you see like the prisoners in cages with the
Yeah.
crows pecking at them.
Yep.
These
Yes.
guys, they're just like around electrical fields. Oh,
Yeah, it was definitely a combination of a medieval look and, like you said, the kind of the Shogun type.
right.
It was a combination of those two.
Especially when he goes to meet the magistrate and the gates open up and you're like in the backyard of some really nice Japan backyard. You know, you got the
Right.
pond on the side. She's feeding the fish and the boardwalk deck looking thing.
Asian garden.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
I love the Baby Yoda mannerisms in this episode. You get more grunting, more like nose breathing, more like little hints of his character. Like this,
What did he say?
The scowl when he scowls at Michael Bihn's character, he's like looks at him. He's like, you can immediately tell he's like, I don't like this guy.
I'm trying to think. Okay, so I do want to give a shout out. So the magistrate is played by Diana Lee Insanto, but she is Bruce Lee's goddaughter. I thought that was awesome.
Yeah, that is cool.
Yeah, I saw that. That's nuts. She's some sort of stunt. She works stunts and choreographs stunts and stuff like that.
Right.
So she's legit when she does that fight later in the episode.
Yep.
Matt, did you get the bartering skills by Mando in this episode? Like, I think he did pretty freaking good.
He's getting better.
It's the best he's done. It's the best he's done. He like actually played it like he was in a game of poker and was, like trying to appear strong. He's like, hey, well, I cost a lot of money. And the whole time he knows he wants to find the Jedi. So when she's like, well, you got to find the Jedi and kill, he's like, it's going to cost you a lot. And then she goes through the whole thing and he's like, so anyway, where exactly would I find her then?
The old 2 birds with 1 stone move.
Oh, it's a great move by him.
And she just
well done.
happens-
He's grown up.
She just happens to have a Beskar javelin pole just ready to fucking launch. She's like, ding, what's this?
Yeah.
Here's your payment if you go kill the Jedi. And he's like,
She's apparently pretty skilled with it too.
yeah, no
She
shit.
is. Yeah.
So Mando exits the city. I love when he's sitting at the wall and little Yoda in the bag is just looking up at Lang. And he says, what's going on here? It's like, it's for luck. Okay.
He goes, you're going to need it.
Yeah, that was my favorite part of him because he so sold it in the way that he looks at Mando and he waits a second. Like there's that pregnant pause and he's like, "You're gonna need it," because he's seen everyone laid to waste already.
Right.
And then big scene right here. So we get into the woods. He sets Baby Yoda down and he thinks they're in the coordinates. And then all of a sudden,
hold up.
Okay, we
Did
got
you
a gripe coming.
No.
Okay.
There's another gripe in a minute. Did you see the owl?
Yes, I did.
Okay. The first time through, for some reason my eyes caught it. When he's walking through, it's right toward where he's about to stop. I think he actually says these are the coordinates.
Yep.
And you see this owl propped up on a branch up above, and that owl is supposed to represent, is it Morai, I think is how you say that? Which is something you would see you would have seen the owl in Rebels. Did you get all the way through season 2?
I'm on like the last 2 episodes.
Oh shit! Well, you're going to see Morai very shortly.
Okay, got it.
I have to be careful with all that we're going to discuss that we're not going to totally ruin plot points for you in Rebels.
No, you're
because
fine.
there's-
It's okay.
Okay.
I'm just behind the curve, so I'll catch up.
But the story behind that, which I'm not as familiar with because I didn't watch as much of the Clone Wars yet, is that Morai was like this embodiment of the daughter. There was the father, the son, and the daughter. This is very very religious.
Yeah,
but it's like the son was the evil side and the daughter was the light. And there was kind of this conflict, and the father was kind of meant to be the balance between the two.
Mm-hmm.
And at some point, Ahsoka goes on this mission to, I can't remember where now. I'm forgetting. My mind's failing. But she actually dies, and the daughter sacrifices herself for Ahsoka to come back, and then kind of follows her around as this owl. So that's why when you see that owl, you're like, oh shit, she's close.
Yeah. And there's some people picked up on the fact, because we'll get to it, the Lothal cat.
Yes.
They're hinting that the cat was supposed to represent Ezra. I think that was a little too much. That's reaching to me, but
It is, especially because of the fact that we saw that Loth cat, or we saw a Loth cat on. I forget the name of the planet where we met Cara Dune.
it wasn't.
Navarro.
No, it wasn't Trask. It was I forget the name of it.
But that thing was in the bar, or
The
the
G,
the
wasn't it?
bar where he
Yes,
goes
yeah.
in.
Yeah, because
so that's
little Yoda's walking through there.
right.
And that-
It hisses at
yeah,
him.
yep.
God, you guys got good memories.
Okay, so she comes flying out of nowhere. You know, this is where holy shit moment right here. He does like the double cross, and the sabers come down on him, and apparently Beskar is now known as lightsaber repellent because that does nothing to him. And they get into a little. He uses the flamethrower. Fucking
I was going to shout it out.
She's got to do the barrel roll. I got to get out of here. It's getting hot in the kitchen.
Yep.
You know.
And then he at first he's like. I thought it was going to be so anticlimactic. He hits her with the grappling cable, and she's like defeated. And then all of a sudden,
just like Boba Fett, on Luke in Return of the Jedi.
Yep. Up over the branch she goes, and whoopie doopie. He goes with her.
Did you see her smile?
Yeah.
She looks up and sees the branch and smiles like, "Uh-oh."
Ahsoka's got some good Jedi jumping skills. She's like,
yeah, you can tell like they're definitely like this. She's been around a while. She can handle her own for damn sure. Like there's nothing that's gonna like stop her. Like even this guy. And I love the fact that like they're starting to show the fact that like Mandalorians and Jedis are like known like arch rivals,
nemesis.
Yeah. So even when he says the line in a bit, but yeah, they go over the tree. He cuts the cable. He comes down. They're ready to go at it again. His gun is drawn. He's like, hold on. What's he say? Ashoka Tano. I was sent here by Bo-Katan. And then she's like, oh, is it about that little thing over there? And she just walks over.
Yeah, I hope it's about him. I love that.
He should have been like, no, he's with me. Oh, I'm here for a totally different reason.
It's my good luck charm.
Yeah.
So yeah, and this is where like it goes in. Like all of a sudden we get this like awesome backdrop of the moon, and I love how Mando is pacing back and forth like a father who's he's got like this. He's nervous, he's not used to leaving the kid alone, and then he comes up and or she rather brings him over to him, and then he's like, "Are you two communicating? Do you understand him?" And she's. I'll know we'll say his name wrong because all day long I want to call him Gogurt just to make a Spaceballs joke. Yogurt the Great, and now we've got Gogurt.
This is my minor gripe number 2. I know the name will grow on me, but when I first heard it, I was like,
no pun intended.
Yeah, exactly. Grogu is the name.
I loved it right when she said it. I was like, I go, oh, he's got a name.
He's untrainable apparently too.
That's true. He is not trainable. But boy, you get a lot of his backstory.
Right.
She just lays it all out.
Yep. He said she goes into saying he was raised at the Jedi Temple on Coruscant, right? Like,
yep.
And then like she mentions the fact that he's untrainable. And apparently he's bonded with the Mandalorian in some way, shape, or form, and it's like.
Well, it's the same thing with Anakin, where like they found him too late, and he loved his mother. And the big thing with Jedis and younglings is they take them at a very young age and raise them in the Jedi temples, so that's all they know. There's no attachment.
Well, she mentions that this has gone really bad for us in the past.
Right.
Right? Like
completely. And I think there's a lot of people who've never seen Ahsoka before. They would not know that like she was Anakin's Padawan. Like she is completely aware of like the change. Like she's fought Vader before, so like this.
Right. She says, "I've seen it happen to the best of us."
Yes.
So there's obviously a reference to Anakin, which was cool.
There's like so many references. I mean, just the fact that he was raised on Coruscant in the Jedi Temple. He was taken during the end of the Clone Wars when the Empire took over. Which is like, okay, now who took him? I mean, and there's basically the sort of alluding to Anakin, killing everyone during Order 66 because why else would he be taken from the temple? So yeah, there's a lot now. And then when he's taken, who takes him? Who hides him? Why are they no longer with him? What is this darkness they talk about? And then when she's trying to train him, she says something about I sense fear in you. So this is there's a lot we'll get into in speculation at the end, but there's a lot going on in just this scene. I love this scene because it's almost like the Mandalorian version of Obi-Wan and Luke in A New Hope.
Right, just kind of laying it all out there.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, you get a really good backdrop on everything. She also, I think, is about the time she gives us that name, Morgan Elspeth, right? And she tells us kind of all about her and how her people were slaughtered during the Clone Wars and how she basically has been working for, plundering worlds to help build the Empire. And I think does she specifically say the Navy, Imperial Navy?
I think she does, yes.
Okay, which I guess when that was said, I should have thought about the fact that later on in what we are going to hear in this episode makes a little bit more sense because obviously the Navy tie to the character we're going to hear about later.
I am interested to go into more of like we've got the Moff Gideon, we've got we'll get to the Grand Admiral, and then we've got this magistrate. Like, what are the levels and who reports to who, and who's important on the scale of, you know what I mean? So there's a
right. Is Moff like a high level manager? Is she a mid manager?
Frontline supervisor.
I feel like she's like the store manager. Moff would be a regional manager, and then the Grand Admiral is like the he runs the full region. That's my take on it, anyways. So yeah, they sort of, after all this info dump, and we're all cleaning our jeans or changing them if you have to, men, women, all the same. They agree to let's go handle this. He's like, I was sent here to kill you. He's like, but obviously I never took the payment or anything. Like, I'm just here to help this kid out, and they come to the resolution. Let's and this is where like they make another deal, and he actually does another one of those. Well, here's what works for me. So he's definitely getting better at the bartering thing.
Because when it comes to bartering, for all of you out there, you start out with throw something out there as the jumping off point, because if you don't, they're going to put it in a spot where you don't like it, and he just accepts that every time. Mm-hmm. So when people are like, okay, if you do this, then you'll get this, he's like, okay. So this time he's like, screw that, I'm going to get in front of this problem, and I'm just going to throw it out there and say, I'll help you, but you got to train him. She's like, okay.
Right.
In that dialogue somewhere, did you guys notice Mando references her laser swords? He's like, you can use your laser swords, and she kind of smirks at him like, it's lightsabers, bitch. Yep. Like, you know what I mean? Like, show a little fucking respect.
So now they go back to the town, and really, like, it's like every samurai movie. I love how the two robot assassins run the rooftops like fucking ninjas. And you know what? I thought about you when that one robot like barrel rolls up it and just crawls, gets back on his feet, and keeps walking.
It looked a little like Boston Dynamics.
Yeah, it's exactly what I thought about. I was like, we got a little Black Mirror going on here. Matt's probably coiled. A good thing you watched it with your lady friend. She probably had to hold you by the end of this.
Pretty much. But like you guys, you talked earlier, Cole, about the slicing of the alarm, the gong. Her sneaky run up to the front of that gate, and then jump up to kick that dude in the face. Oh my god, I love that visual.
She's like my favorite, like my new favorite Jedi. Like, I've never seen a whole lot of Ahsoka. Like, I haven't seen a whole lot of her.
She's great.
She's super cool.
I think that, to me, there's a lot of times you can, like, when they're doing something, like, there's gonna be some fan stuff right here. Like, to me right now, we don't know what's going on with Boba Fett. I feel like I wouldn't say they're dropping the ball, because I think there's a long game plan with that. But like this, like, they put it all out there, and it could have either worked or not. This worked way better than I could have imagined. I feel like anybody feels that way. Like, it is so perfect. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I agree. Like I said, my gripes were minor. Mm-hmm. The look they pulled off with her and her nailing the character just was such a huge part of it. But seeing her in action, like you said, Cole, it's just so, I mean, it's like chowing down on your popcorn watching. It's so much fun action to watch.
She's like the only Jedi who is like almost trained as an assassin. You know what I mean? Like, she's sneaky.
She moves like one.
She moves in stealth. She uses that as her ally. Did you notice she almost puts both lightsabers together at one point and then like pulls them apart?
Yeah.
That's something you will see in the animated stuff
does
a lot.
That.
She does that a lot in the animated stuff.
Yeah, that's one of her signature moves. That's why it was like it was like Avengers Assemble, sort of like when you see that. You're like, holy shit.
God. Well, and she's got their two different lengths. The left one is shorter than the right.
Well,
it's like, one hangs lower than the right, so they don't bump together.
Yeah, that's right.
Causes it.
I love how because each fight sequence was a little bit different, so it was like never boring or like, okay, we've seen this already. Like, she hops the wall, she's like slicing and dicing, she like hits the one guy, uses her force in the gun and whips it behind her, hits the other guy, then hits him, and then there's the guy on the other side of the bell. So she just like, or no, he's in front of it, but to get through him, she also goes through the bell. That fucking drops, gets everyone's attention. And she's like, I'm here.
Well, it's like at the beginning when she slices the tree and force throws the chunk that sliced into the guy's face.
Yes.
What a cool move.
She's got all sorts of like little hidden tricks. Did you guys notice? So as we're getting into these battle scenes, so it ends up with Mando versus Lang. Michael Biehn. Mm-hmm. And then you got Ahsoka versus Elsbeth, and they're both doing like a little bit of a face-off. So I like the little like Ahsoka stroll down Main Street, like the high noon stroll. She's just clacking down Main Street, like, I'm ready for whatever you got. And then,
and she throws the freaking thing, his coupling.
Right.
Your bounty hunter failed.
Mm-hmm. Yep. trying to set the scene, and then somehow he recollects it, and he's got his full armor again, and we don't ever get to see that.
We never see him come in and sweep it up, do we?
Yeah, he comes in and gets it. Yep. But did you guys like the blaster that Lang's character, or Michael Bihn's character had? It was like a shotgun. Did you guys notice?
It was like a sawed-off shotgun or something.
Well, yeah, and it also shot out like multiple lasers, like it was a spread pattern.
Oh, I guess I didn't
really?
realize
I didn't
that.
notice that.
Yeah, like it hits the ground in front of Mando a couple times, but there's like 5 or 6 like pellets. Like it looked cool.
Okay.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah, I can't believe you guys didn't notice that.
I loved like when she jumped up on the rooftop and she's like just like they're bouncing off her saber and she's running and shit, and I was like, oh, I mean, it works in animation so well, but some of the stuff like you don't think you're gonna see live action,
right.
And it was just it was fluid, you know. But
yeah,
like,
it was fluid.
When you see the shot where Mando's lining up against Lang, and you know they start having their little sing song back and forth, and then you see like that superhero shot of Ahsoka up on the wall behind him.
That
just
was
like
fucking
everything's
awesome.
fucking her robes floating and shit. And she's like, all right,
Yes.
he's got this. I was like, that was a fucking awesome shot.
And she's basically looking at him going, well, I'm going to go kill your boss now. I'll be back.
Takes off.
And the narration is fucking great.
Yeah. So
Who do you think's going to win?
Yeah, he's outside and he's trying to get into Mando's head is my whole thing at this, right?
Yeah.
So like I like inside there's like a slow build going on, like they're testing their defenses, lightsaber versus Beskar
Right.
javelin.
They're just touching tips at first.
Yeah, like just feeling each other out, seeing what's going to go where. Ahsoka loses a lightsaber into the water, and that's a question I had right off the bat. Does the lightsaber work after it comes out of the water? Like,
Oh, they're waterproof.
Yeah.
Are they waterproof? Okay. I didn't know.
Well, now you do.
So we got out front, you know, Lang and Mando are going back and forth. And my thing is like, what does Lang think he's gonna do? Like he's got even if he has the drop on him, Mando's like impervious to blaster fire. Like,
But he doesn't know this, I don't think. You know.
well, I mean, it's just like he's never like he's charged like 50 stormtroopers holding detonators and like never taken a single blaster fire.
Yeah.
Like it's you versus
and
him.
he's also a fucking like guild member, Mandalorian, and he's got his hand, you know, just ready like a cowboy. This guy's like he should have just put the gun down and been like when he said this isn't my fight, he should have like lived by those words.
Yeah, I think he thought this is my only move,
right?
And so I'm just going to try it. And he calls out the armor when he first meets him. Remember, nice armor.
Yeah, yes, yeah.
But I don't think he understood just how nice that armor was.
Well, he looks a little war torn too, so it's not like he hasn't had his day in battle, you know.
Well, he hears Ahsoka take old girl down.
I love that. I love how his dialogue matches what's going on in there.
Yeah.
Do you think that Lang is thinking, or Biehn more so is thinking, God damn it, it's just like Tombstone. Had this showdown, and I get capped.
I think he was more like, I get to pay my mortgage this month.
Starts speaking Latin and twirling his gun around.
So let's go into the fight a little bit.
He's an educated man.
There's the narration, but there's also like, you know, she wants information from, I want to call her Elizabeth, but it's Elsbeth. Yeah. And I mean, when she gets in close after she disarms her and she says, you know, where's your master? Where's Grand Admiral Thrawn?
Yeah, my lightsaber ignited.
Like, like I know he's in the animation stuff, and I was excited when they put him in there. And I know this is all canon and everything, but as the little kid in 91 or whatever reading Heir to the Empire, and this fucking character has just been, other than like Darth Vader, the great big bad of the Star Wars universe, you know, and now like you hear his name said, and you're like, oh my god, like to me, there's a difference between the animation and live action in the sense of how real it is.
Oh, absolutely.
You know?
As much as I like animated stuff, and I've liked what I've seen of the Clone Wars. I really liked Rebels a lot.
Right.
There's a different level when you're in live action that is just more real.
So that was where I was like, I think I lost my shit more on that than when they named Grogu.
Oh, totally.
You know?
And that's why, like I said at the top of the show, I literally said out loud, oh shit, we're going to do this? Like, I just couldn't believe it was happening that fast. I get, and again, looking back, who that woman works for, you would have thought I would have kind of made maybe a guess that could have happened. And we've talked about it on this show. We've talked about who would you like to see in live action. We've talked about Thrawn.
Right.
So, but to actually hear her say that out loud, I was like, holy shit, I cannot believe this is happening. And
this whole episode just keeps opening up the Star Wars universe. Like
Yes.
like all these layers they're doing. You're like, and we've talked about this episodes. I've talked about and we'll get to speculation, but like I keep talking about backdoor pilots and these characters introducing these things they're doing, and this is like opening up for these new shows or whatever that's coming out. And this show right here just gives you 19 different plot lines that these different shows can run with. Like there's so much history all of a sudden that they're piecing together for you, because I mean we're like in a part of the Star Wars history. It's like Jesus from like what was his teenage years or his 20s? Like he just went from a kid to 30. Like what's this fucker do for a good 15 years of his life, right? Like
why didn't anybody tell that story? There's a huge gap there.
We're in that gap right now. We're in that gap. We're like, what is going on?
I hated the Jesus prequels.
You cannot refer to our Lord and Savior as a fucker. We'd appreciate it.
Hey, there's so much religion tied into like this Star Wars stuff right now. Yeah. Like we're gonna get to when she mentions the planet and everything. But oh my God, there's so much. So here's the thing. Like now we know the Beskar staff was offered to him for killing the Jedi, and now Ahsoka has it, and she offers it to him. And of course, by Mandalorian rule, he didn't deserve it because he didn't get it for what was the way it was offered to him. But she's like, look, it's Beskar, and of course he's like, good idea. Yeah, it's mine. I'll take it.
Belongs
another
to
weapon.
Yeah. So I've got written down Mando gets the Beskar staff and 1,000 experience points.
Leveled up.
Because sometimes this plays like a video game, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like each thing
totally.
like levels up or he beats the boss.
It's all the side missions. And like you said, meeting different bosses. It's totally that. And to your point a second ago, this is opening up so many options. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't mean that all these things are going to turn into their own series or whatever. But when they throw out things like all the stuff you've seen in this episode, all the Ahsoka stuff, the stuff with Bo-Katan, the stuff with Thrawn.
Right.
It either is an option for them to say, let's roll this off into another series, which I'm sure there are already conversations about anyway, or it's like, well, and if we don't, we'll bring him back in season 3, and that's a plot point we can use in this show. So there's just a lot, like you said, that they're opening up to. So they've got 50 different things to pick from.
Right.
And if 4 of those become their own show, great, we'll use the other 46,
No, and I wrote down a couple of my ideas here at the bottom, but so Mando, he thinks that Ahsoka is going to train him, so he's like, I'm gonna go back to the ship and get him, And did you catch? Like, I didn't realize that the guy at the beginning of the show that was talking to the 2 kids in the alleyway was like the original magistrate. He was the guy, the head of the town, right?
Yeah, because he kept showing up. I mean, he comes out, they're doing the head nod thing because he's helping save the prisoners and all that kind of stuff. So it was cool to see he's actually the guy that had been, the leader before this all went south.
Or even the one line he gets, look behind you, and before Mando can turn around, he's got a headshot on the robot rolling over the roof. I was like,
those assassin droids. A bit of a disappointment. Their performance. They were meant to be these badass things, and they get taken out real easily.
I feel like they just I think it's more to sell how badass Mando is.
Yeah.
Over them, but yeah, you're right. They're basically just a robotic stormtrooper at this point.
You expected them to be the badasses because they were the 2 closest guards to the main boss, right? It's like the 2 red stormtroopers that the Empire keeps near,
right? But
you never see them in action. Oh, you do in
a form of them.
Yeah.
In the Last Jedi.
Yeah.
So he goes wakey, handoff snaky, is what Kevin Smith would say. He's sleeping in his hammock, all fucking cute and shit.
I was wondering why you had handoff drippy. What's that mean?
I was just trying to go a little cuter. I don't know.
Well, and the funny thing with this scene is, or the touching thing you could say, is that they take a little time with him, like kind of sitting there, almost like sad, like with the droopy helmet going, like, I just
in this episode. Yeah,
I want to say goodbye.
Yep.
Like,
he dresses him, tucks his little Jedi robe on him.
Yeah.
So that was cool. And then she shows up and is, of course, once again, Mando gets fucked on the deal.
It reminds me of like Zelda, and he's like, "You've reached the wrong cave. Go to whatever." Yeah. Like it's always like she's like, "Well, I'm not going to help you, but if you go to the planet," and he's like, "Jesus Christ, I've been to half the universe."
And he's just like, okay, another mission, another side. Go to the planet Tython, right?
Yep.
Where you'll find an ancient ruins of a temple that has a strong connection to the Force. Place Grogu on the Seeing Stone at the top of the mountain. Grogu may choose his path. So it's supposed to.
This is like all I see here is Luke and Rey.
Okay.
Like on Ahch-To, you mean?
Yep.
Yeah.
It kind of threw me back to Rebels, where they go to the temple
on Lothal
to do like Ezra's training with Kanan or whatever his name is. That's what
now reading back on this Tython a little bit. Well, I guess this wraps it up, right? I mean, now we get all of these episodes, these missions lead us to Ahsoka, and now it's back to Lone Wolf and Cub.
And the only thing I wanted to mention to wrap that up is she says a Jedi might sense his call and come find him. And she says, but there's not that many Jedi left, which of course leads to just massive speculation.
Yes.
Who the hell do we think is going to show up?
Which is, I'm ready to speculate. I'm so ready to speculate.
Let's speculate.
Yeah. Okay, so what do we want to do first? We want to speculate about who took Grogu from the temple. We want to speculate about Lothal and all of that can happen. Are we speculating about Grand Admiral Thrawn? The floor is open, ladies and gentlemen.
I would. Well, first of all, do you think we're going to see Ahsoka again?
No.
I don't either.
Well, I take that back. I think that she could be a character that, every once in a while there might be a run-in or something, because I think there's like a bigger story at play, obviously, right? And I think if this goes to like the Siege on Mandalore originally, and it looks like they're going to try and take Mandalore back at some point, maybe some of the Jedis will show up or something. But I think like she's more of a messenger than anything. This episode was straight up backdoor. She's getting her own series. You're not. You're not going to see Grand Admiral Thrawn. Like Moff Gideon is our big bad. He's our Vader for Mandalorian. Thrawn, maybe we'll see, but he's out there now. Like we know he exists. Maybe there'll be like a run-in as we see their empire, their new era growing or whatever. Mm-hmm. But I think like now we have a good idea of what these other side stories are going to be. It's like instead of Disney dropping novels all the time where you got to what's going on in the Star Wars universe, you're just going to like visually, like it's just going to explode all over your face, neck, and chest.
I agree 100%. I think this is just the launch of her series, whatever that is, if that's the Leslie Headland series or something else. I think Thrawn is going to be more tied to that series. Yeah. I think as much as people, and this will come up again when we talk about like who's the Jedi that's coming, I don't think we're going to see Ezra. I think Ezra's going to be involved in that series. If we see him, it's just going to be cameo type situation.
Right.
It makes you think that Sabine, are we ever going to see her? Probably in that series too. So
I agree.
It takes a lot of that into that series, and that's fine with me. I'm cool with that. But that's how I left this episode feeling like exactly what you said. This was a total build up for a new show,
right?
But it served a great purpose for this one.
And the great thing about that too is, well, they set the backstory for that other series with Ahsoka's, or
right. I mean, you got the hero and you've heard of the villain, so you know where you're going.
They're all going to be like, okay, I remember this. This is familiar. Or go back and watch this episode. But the thing is, like, there's such little detail about who survived Executive Order 66 that it could be a Jedi they make up. It could be somebody that you never saw, or one of the 15 different Jedis you see killed in, was it the Clone Wars? No, it wasn't Clone Wars. It was, the Revenge of the Sith. When you see all the Jedis, the scene where it goes through and it shows them all being assassinated by their own troops. And
what a heartbreaking scene.
You don't get to see every single Jedi killed, so who knows? Like, then, Well,
we know, I mean, there's always stories of just like when Kanan, it's like when this stuff happened, those who like survived or caught on or got away, they go into hiding. So we know like there's, we don't know how many or who are hiding, and there's always a good story to tell. But, and where I see what you're saying, I disagree. I think that then
who else could it be? Because we don't really know any other Jedi.
Well, let's speculate a little bit. Okay, so it's not going to be Luke, right?
No, people would love to see that in a way, or have some like cameo option with him, but I just can't see them doing Luke.
I can't either. Now, if anyone's going to hear him, if he does reach out with the Force, like if anyone's going to, it would be Luke, right?
Yeah,
like,
he makes sense, but I just don't think.
Yeah, we're under the impression like he's the strongest Jedi that is, able to pick this up. I think my guess is it's going to be Mace Windu.
Okay, explain that a little bit more, because I don't know. I did not read anything as far as the whole
let's tie
Windu
back.
Is he dead?
Is he? We never saw him die. We just saw him get zapped out the window. We've got clone Palpatine running around the back now. He's all like, I'm still alive, and I fell down 9 million hours of shaft here. So like we've got. I mean, people fucking they survive in these things, and like he's come out a million times. I think even George Lucas said he might not be dead. So I think this would be the big surprise, right? Like if they're going to go with anything, the big reveal would be, if it's not going to be Luke, where you're going to get the oh shit moment, right? You're going to see, here's what you're going to see. You're going to see a fucking purple light somewhere, and you'll be like, oh, what's that mean? Right?
Well, my question is, if he calls out with the Force through this temple and it magnifies it, like, Cerebro from X-Men, right? Like,
sure. Yeah, there you go.
What's stopping Darth Vader from picking up this Force signal?
He's dead.
No.
Darth Vader's dead at this point.
Wait, oh, sorry.
This is 5 years after Return of the Jedi.
I'm thinking Rebels. I'm sorry. I'm thinking between 3 and 4.
I know. I have to bounce on that too.
So, but who's going to stop? What's going to stop the dark side of the Force?
You're on the right side, though. That's exactly what I'm thinking.
Like,
I think,
yes.
I think because of the
wouldn't
fear,
Ahsoka be like, hey,
she senses the fear in him.
Let me give you a little warning.
Yeah.
Like, when you call out, you might get a bunch of fucking bad guys coming after you.
But they're under the impression there are no Sith, right?
She just sends them up there. Hey, just open up the temple.
There's the rule of 2, right? So if the Emperor still exists and Kylo is not born yet, or if he is, like he's just shitting his diaper somewhere, so he's not really using the Force yet. So there's another one, and we know Darth Maul at this time is dead. So
Darth Maul is dead, yes.
So here's the other one. If they're bringing in Ahsoka and they're bringing in Thrawn, right?
Some of this stuff comes up in Rebels, so I apologize.
I'm lost.
And we need a dark Jedi. There's a fan favorite that works for the Emperor, is tied to Thrawn, and that has never been on anything but a book yet, and it's Mara Jade. Now, your story is going to be a little different because she's not going to be tied to Luke, be married to Luke, and have Luke's kids, but I think that would be a big shit moment.
So a couple things. One, the Mara Jade thing, I only know somewhat about her.
Mm-hmm.
I know the timeline of whatever's been written about her does not jive, especially with all the Luke stuff, with what they've shown us on screen now. It like some of that gets all goofed.
Right.
But the Mace Windu thing's interesting, especially because of the fact that he was kind of like Yoda's right-hand man.
Right.
So
now we'll
if somebody's going to be that strong in the Force to sense that, he would make sense. I never really considered him.
Yeah.
I was trying to think of who else is around. We talked about Luke, probably not. Leia, certainly not. Ezra, we think is going to be probably safe for something else. Again, I don't. I'm so hesitant to say things because Cole hasn't seen this. Kanan's not an option.
Yeah, right.
His son.
Oh, I wonder what that means.
His son is. Just throwing that out there.
Okay.
I really got to burn
because that was kind of thrown out later. Also, Cal from the Jedi Fallen Order video game is another one that people have mentioned. I don't know that they would bring that crossover into play, but he was certainly one person who survived the
the actor is great. The guy who plays Cal is the one kid with the red head from Shameless. Plays him in the video games. But rumor has it there's supposed to be a trilogy of those, so
yes.
I would tend to think they're still going to stick with that story before they bring him in live action. If they're already bringing in at some point Thrawn, I guess, but if they brought Ahsoka, I think that would be too much of a oh, look, we're just pulling everyone in here.
Could be. It could be. And then the other thing is what you said, Cole, which takes me back to something you said before, where somebody asked us a question about who from animation would you like to see in live action? And you mentioned the Inquisitors. There could be Inquisitors still around, and that's what I thought of.
Yep. Yeah.
So when it came to the whole oh shit, I just broadcast that signal, and now people I don't necessarily want are coming out of the woodwork to find it. That made me think: is there some sort of Inquisitor tie where they're going to bring some Inquisitor out of nowhere who's going to try to attack them, and that's going to be a big issue?
At first I was like, we're not going to see Inquisitors in this show, but now that he's got the Beskar steel of freedom, we'll call it, now he can fight Moff Gideon with a Darksaber, right? So now, I guess if a Inquisitor, but you're still
nice pull,
right?
That's a good idea.
But we don't know if Moff Gideon is Force sensitive. So if he's just waving around a sword and Mando's waving around a staff, it'll kind of be an even fight. If we throw in Inquisitors, that's not a match for Mando. That doesn't mean that it's not going to happen, but I feel like they're going to keep that on the same level.
Or the clones that had Baby Yoda's midichlorian blood could be Force sensitive too.
Yeah.
They could be like,
well, see, okay, now here's the thing. I think you're on the wrong path with that. I don't think those Dark Troopers have the midichlorians. I think the midichlorians were just used for the clones they were making that I guess someday is going to end up being Snoke, right? And I think that they're on plan 1, and Moff Gideon, whatever Moff Gideon's plan is separate from whatever Thrawn, when Thrawn comes in, because Thrawn will be tied to the Palpatine. He's sent out. Last we saw, he was sent out to the Outer Rim area. He's lost out there. He's aware of that's where the Chiz are more familiar with. And
right.
at some point in one of the books, he's actually told he's sent out there by the Emperor to route some of those paths and stuff, right? So he's familiar with that, even if he's sent out there with Ezra. So at some point he comes back. That's when he is familiar with the Emperor. If he knows the Emperor is alive, he could be like, "Oh, Emperor, I found Exegol. Go out there, go hide." And then Mara Jade,
right? Because Exegol is in the unknown regions, right?
Right, yeah. So it feels like this is all starting to tie together. If you start paint by numbers a little bit, who knows if we're fucking right? But
I think we threw out enough options that maybe one of them might have something to it.
Yeah, exactly.
Covered our bases.
3 years we could be like, we were right.
Kenobi comes back, and
so let's go back for speculation. Who took Grogu from the temple? Now this goes back to Mace. Like if Mace was aware of shit's going down, all of a sudden I just got zapped by the fucking senator. He flies out a window. I guess survives.
He loves Yoda guys.
Right.
He loves Yoda guys.
He makes it back.
He grabs the Yoda guy.
He makes it back to the temple. The kid survives the genocide, and he's like, "Come on, little kiddo, let's get you." And this fits.
He's hiding in a little pot. They never even saw him.
Yeah. He's eating fucking fish eggs. but this fits the Star Wars theme, right?
He's probably eating the dead Jedi kid. Sorry.
Mace rolls up on him. He's just like intestines are rolled
Stop
out of
eating them.
All right, I got it. That's why he black. That's why there's the darkness, right? He survives in the pot.
It was a trauma.
He lives in the temple for 50 years, just feasting off the corpses of dead Jedi, and it slowly drives him insane. And that's where he starts to black it out, and he just takes away from the Force.
Disney's like, we will never let you represent us. Like we just ruined our chances.
There goes our Levi's sponsorship too.
Yep.
Fucking blew that. Took a dark turn. So apparently he's part zombie now too.
Mace is a good thought. I don't know who else would have taken him. I mean, I've heard some people speculate that like maybe one of the keepers of the temple, because I thought the main person got killed. There was like that librarian that he talks to, Kenobi talks to, and he's trying to track down where Kimono is or whatever or something. But Camino. But yeah, I don't know. That's hard to say. There's a lot of
maybe just another youngling, like they catch wind, or Baby Yoda's probably just camping in the cafeteria while everyone else is getting slaughtered.
But he's eating,
snacking.
Yeah.
He's in there snacking, or he's back at his dorm.
There's
got to have food in the dorms, Baby Yoda.
There's got to be like a
from a certain
jelly
point
donut? Of view story where
is
like
this your jelly donut. What is this jelly donut doing in your footlocker? Are you allowed to have food in the barracks?
I've got it. He was in the mobile defense carriage unit, and the Anakin couldn't get it open. Like, shit, fuck it.
Yeah. He's just like whapping it with his sword, and it wouldn't go through there, and he's like, all right, I'm done.
His laser sword?
Yeah, I got better shit to
do.
I'm
busy.
I'm due on a volcano any day now, so I gotta go.
Coming, Emperor. Tie up these loose ends. He's gonna come back and haunt us.
Yeah, those are that's some speculation. What else do we have here? So let's leave here. Okay, so we know that Mando's being tracked by Moff Gideon, who has Dark Troopers now. I think that's going to be a main plot point that sticks with our series. We know there's a war for Mandalore coming on because what's her face that one of my guesses that was going to hear something or was going to allude to something was there's Maz around somewhere, right? So maybe Maz kind of comes in the picture at all. So. I've got Maz stuck in my head, but I was thinking of that Mandalorian lady that still.
Bo-Katan?
Yep, Bo-Katan.
I'll just keep saying it.
That's right.
Maz is an interesting thought. I wouldn't mind seeing her again. I really like that character.
I did too. Yeah,
I wouldn't mind her popping up.
Yep. Well, I mean, she's got Space Force Skype, so she's got to get a hold of him at some point.
And he said she's run this place for however many generations or whatever. So so she's old.
If he keeps hopping from planet to planet, he's going to end up at her castle.
He will.
Whatever.
He will.
Yeah.
But he can't drink when he shows up.
Well,
unless he does that little.
It depends on if he's
thing.
decided to take the helmet off. I feel like
Maybe
season 2 or 3, he's gonna be like. I feel like he'll wear the helmet for like posterity. He's like, I'm a Mandalorian. I always keep my helmet on. But like, every once in a while, he's gonna be in the Razor Crest. He's like, fuck this shit. I need some fresh air.
He's gonna show up, and Maz is gonna be like, I made this for you. It's just one of those crazy loopy straws that just goes all the way up into his helmet. Sorry, they can't all be good.
Crazy loopy straw. Okay. Is there anything else for this, or we could speculate all day? But episode's gone on longer than we planned on.
I'm excited. We're going to see another new world, so that'll be cool to see. And it, most likely means we're going to be introduced to at least one, maybe more new characters. So I can't wait for the new episode. Was I looking at your notes? I can't remember, but does he go there right away? Is he going to go back to Navarro? Is he going to do something else before he goes on to Titan?
I don't know. We've got 3 episodes. There's a side mission, right? So it probably ends up back at Navarro somewhere or another, and then the last 2 episodes are them and the big, because like he's got to meet up with Moff. There's got to be a fight. There's got to be. Yeah. He's got to at least attempt to take him to the temple. Probably shit goes down. It's going to end cliffhanger for season 3. He sets him on there, and then we hear something or whatever, and then we're left to, oh shit, what's going on?
He sets him on the Seeing Stone. He just disappears.
Yeah.
What the shit?
Well, okay, so here's one of the things. It's
Ahsoka!
Like he's a non-Jedi. He's not allowed in that area. So like if he lands on the planet, if there's like anyone around, they're going to be like, "Yo, hit the bricks. We'll take care of this little guy."
Oh, it's like a Mormon temple.
Right. Yeah.
The non-Mormons can't go in.
Freemasons.
Freemasons, yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot of history with Tython, because it's like pre the movies, I guess. So the movies made Jediah like the one of the early Jedi temples or whatever. But like in old story, this Tython is. So this is.
Oh, you mean Jeddah?
I'm sorry. Yes.
Sorry, I just want to make
sure.
No,
please correct me. It's Asoka.
It's not the Amish version.
Jebediah.
So I think this is going to be like a lot of loose threads by the time we get to season or the end of the. I just I love being in the dark, but I also hate it because I have no idea where we're going with the next 3 episodes.
Let go of the control.
Just enjoy it. Take the ride. Take the ride.
Yep.
All right. We're
it'll
wrong.
It'll end with some sort of downer. There will be a suspenseful. Oh shit! I can't wait for season 3 because now Baby Yoda's in peril or whatever. Grogu's in peril.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, it's gonna be hard to start calling him Grogu.
It is.
Yeah.
Makes me want to think of Dragon Ball Z.
That's why I said Goku.
Yeah. Throws me off.
All right, that's it. That's our breakdown. Well, I think it was longer than the episode. You're welcome.
We do have Maul bag to get to. I don't know if we're going to do that. Do you guys want to do that for this episode?
We can get the Maul bag real quick.
I'm a representative of the United States government, authorized by
Order 66.
I'm your postman.
So we have 4.
Oh.
So thank you everybody for reaching out. We had a lot of, and I did want to mention too, we really appreciate all the new reviews we've got. We've gotten a lot of new reviews lately. Those are all getting tallied. Your entries are being logged. So thank you so much for all those reviews that people have been writing. Really appreciate those. Email number 1, which is actually a DM that came to us from Josh Tufts. He says, "Hello, FacPapod. First, can we establish if you have your Maul bag message read on air, you are announced in the next pod as having been Maul bagged?"
Genius.
Henceforth, it shall be so.
When I read that,
Josh?
I was like, we're just gonna delete this email and we're gonna say we created that. Also, the way he says "hello, FacPapod," I feel that's passive aggressive.
He's the one. Remember, I think I was telling you about this, where he said what's the Scott Pilgrim, where they say we are. What is that? Was their name?
We are Lubbabam, right? Or
Lubbabam. He's
right?
like that's what I hear every time I think of FacPapod. Okay. We are FacPapod. Okay. So Josh, you've been Maul bagged. Secondly, to clean up the Snoke timeline with the experimentation you need to build in the fact that this whole batch of things need to be thrown out and they have to start over because this batch based on Baby Yoda blood cannot be commanded to do anything but non-stop snack breaks from this group.
You can imagine Moff Gideon just showing up on a hologram. How's it going? They won't stop eating, sir.
Like gremlins.
Execute them.
I think that's an excellent point. But clearly, Snoke was way too frail to be an overeater. So
that's true. He was genetically engineered to never need food. He was genetically engineered to be like, he's got the fucking appetite of Mando.
He's living off my college diet, which is just cigarettes and Diet Coke.
Yeah.
That's it. Jesus. You don't need to eat.
Once a year, they feed him some fucking ramen.
Right. You have been served your meal for the year. Finally, give me my Darksaber. It is the way. Good luck, Josh.
Yeah.
You've been Maul bagged.
Hey, I'll be honest. I hope Josh wins the Darksaber.
Wow. Don't start pulling for favorites here. It's going to look like we're corrupt. We have a fraud.
I'll be honest. I'm going to say that for every person that wrote an email.
Okay. Next person to be Maul bagged. Dear Jay, this is from, who's this from?
Mike.
This is from Mike?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is from Mike. Sorry. Dear Jay, the Angry Gagoran.
Love it.
Neighbor Coleman, Trebor, and Matt. Thanks. With the massive name drop at the end of today's episode, is the Mandalorian at risk of shooting its load, of big names too early and losing that small town charm that made it so interesting in the first place? I think this is a valid question because I think we discussed that a lot of this is set up for other shows. So it's not them like trying to throw everything they can into this one thing and have it all be contained within the Mandalorian. It's just a launching point for all these other series. You know?
I like the way that it's kind of grown into being a part of the universe that we know. They brought in other characters, the teases, everything has been I don't think they've lost their way at all. Like I like the fact that like the Mandalorian is a part of something bigger, whether he realizes it or not. We as an audience get to, right? So, but they're also like they don't have a problem taking his ass back to Tatooine and him and Cobb hanging out. They'll probably have a couple spotches of Spotchka, yeah.
Spotchka.
Yeah, 2 snorts of Spotchka, and they'll go, kill another crate dragon or something, Everybody needs a vacation, but, if you got Moff Gideon as your bad guy, I think your days are numbered of just hanging out and collecting payments for grief.
Yeah, and I think, like you said, it started out as its own thing and has grown to have these interweavings with what we know, and I think that was the way to do it.
And we talked about before that Favreau said he sees as the show develops, it's going to be very like Game of Thrones, right? You're going to have all these characters and all these worlds and things, and everything's going to be colliding, like telling their own stories and coming together. And this episode, more than anything, really shows proof of concept.
Yes. Well, and we've talked about will we see Bo-Katan again, which we think we might, but Sasha Banks did an interview recently where she said her character, there's nothing else for her character this season. She actually said that. So it doesn't mean that we won't see Bo-Katan without her, but given that they were all tight and kind of a group, you would think that means we probably won't see Bo-Katan again this season.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think it's going to come down to, we're going to get the Trinity, right? The Holy Trinity of Greef, Cara, and Mando. And I guess you got to count Grogu in there as well. So the quad father, what?
Right.
Yeah, and then we're gonna get them going up against Moff and his dark troopers.
And I know I've mentioned the kind of the Marvel model, which I don't mind them taking a page out of that. Which is there are those little bits, there's those cameos and pieces where main characters who get their own shows are still showing up in other places because it's all tied together. They're not individual little isolated silos.
You're exactly right. It's worked for 23 movies so far, so why not bring it into Star Wars?
He also says, as Movember draws to a close, who's the best Star Wars character to sport a mustache?
Cara Dune.
The hair she sports isn't visible on camera.
Okay.
So I've got 3 nominations. It's either, of course, Lando Calrissian, the young Lando.
Yeah.
Especially. Biggs from A New Hope.
Okay.
Good call.
Blasted Biggs. You get that mustache on your face. And the third one, I would say Cassian Andor. One of the two. One of those 3.
Okay.
I personally think Biggs.
I want to see him with
Biggs has got the Tom Selleck thing going.
I want to see Cassian Andor as with a John Waters mustache. Just like that thin pencil.
Thin?
Yeah. And it just comes out a little bit where you can twirl it like a little mustache twirler. You're like, is he a villain from this?
Cassian is bordering on beard. He doesn't have the beard yet. There's a lot of beards that when you think
Lots
back to facial hair characters, there's tons of beards.
That's what
everywhere.
they call Cara.
And then you got Uncle Owen with the chin pubes. He's got like the thing going on. You know what I mean?
Okay.
The only other one I thought of was John Ratzenberger from Empire Strikes Back. Remember how he was in the Battle of Hoth? Cliff Clavin was in the Battle of Hoth. Yes.
Who?
Fucking Cliff
The guy who
Clavin
plays
from
Cliff
Cheers.
Clavin in Cheers. He is in Empire Strikes Back.
I see him right now. Oh my God, that face there, that mustache is epic. That's pretty close.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. That's a thick baby. Caterpillar.
Yeah. I like Biggs as the upset over Lando. I think either one of those would be good.
Yeah, I agree.
So happy Thanksgiving, Mike. Thanks, Mike.
Yeah, man. And I hope you win the Darksaber.
Committed to it.
Okay, this one's from Wesley Gaskins. Okay, y'all did it. I'm ready to watch the animated stuff, but where to start? I think we've discussed that here as far as, because Cole's starting on Rebels, but I need to go back, and that's where I started essentially because I watched Rebels right away. I really want to go back and watch Clone Wars, which we've talked about doing maybe some seasonal reviews on the show or something at some point. So the most likely place to start is Clone Wars, but you're not going to be. It's going to work if you start with Rebels.
I would say start with Clone Wars, go into Rebels. You're going to have enough time in between. Once the show wraps up in 3 weeks, so why not? They're definitely pulling from both so much, and you'll be ready for when the Ahsoka show comes out then. So, and you'll know. Yeah. Ahsoka.
Just
I said
every
Ahsoka
time.
that
You
time.
did it.
What's the origin of the white sabers?
Ooh, I know.
Janos.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Go for it.
In the Ahsoka novel, she takes them from an Inquisitor after killing him, and he has red kyber crystals in his. but because they bleed them or whatever they do to make them red with the dark force, but she uses them and changes them and turns them into white, and that sort of represents that she's not a Jedi or a Sith.
I thought it was because she drank pumpkin spice lattes and was a basic bitch.
Oh, okay. She's ordered from the Starbucks drive-thru.
Just basic white girl.
Need 2 white kyber crystals to go, and a shot of cappuccino.
When she pulled up, did they say, "How we doing, Chief?
Ahsoka
What can I get
Chino.
going for you, bro?" Sorry.
If that doesn't exist, Starbucks, get on it. Get an Ahsoka Chino going for you.
I mean, Star is in the name. It should be somewhere in the Star Wars universe.
Right.
So it's the 6th brother. I actually had to ask the consultant about this a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And he was telling me there's an episode where they actually show that, where she kills him and purifies or whatever you want to call it, the kyber crystals, and that's where she makes her.
What's that on? Is that on Clone Wars?
That's Clone Wars, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. And if I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, Wesley. Thank you, Wesley.
Wesley, I hope you win the Darksaber.
I had to wait for it. And finally, a long one. This comes from Kyle. She's got a lot of questions here.
Oh, boy. Did we answer them all? I think we did.
We'll go through them. I think we did. Am I crazy for getting a major samurai feel from this episode? You are not crazy.
7 Samurai! That's the name of the movie.
Yep. I looked it up earlier. I didn't want to tell you, though.
It just hit me.
Only took an hour and you got there.
Yeah.
2, do I need to watch the Clone Wars to really understand what's happening with some of these references? You don't have to. You'll have a much greater understanding of exactly what's going on, but I think these shows are meant to be able to digest without having all the backstory. However, it does certainly help to know all that.
You don't have to watch them. You just have to get your 40% from a certain point of skew.
There you go. Yeah. That's the way to go. This is the way for sure. Why won't Ashoka? Why won't Ahsoka train Baby Yoda? And she said, "Yes, I know his name is Grogu, but I'm too attached to Baby Yoda."
We all are.
Because the darkness inside of him from eating all the other dead Jedi.
And you know what? Right. She doesn't say it, but as far as we know, she's not a Jedi. So I don't think obviously she's on a mission anyway, so she's not in any mood to be like, you know what, I'm going to take on a Padawan for shits and giggles. She's like, I'm going to go throw him on this fucking all-seeing mountain. Someone else can deal with this little shitbag. That's what she said. Yeah, if you watched the subtitles, it said Ahsoka is thinking, and it said that.
Yeah. The subtitles include thought bubbles. That's great.
Of course they do.
Pop-up video.
Number 4. Was there a greater importance to Ahsoka telling Mando to save the prisoners right away? The combination of that directive and the one prisoner calling out to Mando seems significant, but maybe I'm reading too much into it. Not that I'm aware of. I can see why she thought that.
Did we ever see them liberated? I don't think we did we?
Yeah, he liberates them.
Does he?
He and the guy that was the old magistrate
who
he helps him get those people down. Number 5, talk to me about the spear. Who did it come from? I've never seen the spear before. I think that's a new thing.
There's a story involving the spear that has some weird name in the Legends canon of things, and they seem to be ripping things from canon or from the Legends line from what they will. So maybe that'll be tied into that. But as of right now, it's just the Beskar steel.
Yeah, I just thought it was brought in because one, it served as a motivation she thought anyway, for Mando to go kill Ahsoka, but also so that we could have that battle. Because if she doesn't have that spear, then that battle's not going to happen.
Right. You know he's going to melt it down into whistling eagles anyways.
Right. Well, my first thought
Eagles now.
Yeah, eagles. Yeah, they
birds, man.
My first thought before that
Shut up, man.
Much
he was
more
going to
powerful.
fight Moff Gideon with the Darksaber was he was going to melt it down and give Grogu armor. That's what I first thought. I was like, oh, he's just going to just drape him in. Yeah,
that's a good call.
He's gonna
that would be cool.
Yeah, put some jewels on his bitch.
Number 6, should I know who the new magistrate is at the end?
No.
So that's the new magistrate at the end. So she's talking about the guy. No, not that we know.
Right. No.
So I'm sure I'll think of more. Face with tears of joy. Thanks, Kyle.
Kyle, I hope you win the Darksaber.
You're so stupid. Kyle was our big winner from Podtoberfest for the Baby Yoda doll.
Right. Yeah.
That's right.
I think she's been null and void, right?
No.
Didn't we say that during?
Did we?
I just cut her entries in half.
Actually, you know what? I take that back. I do hope she wins the Darksaber.
Okay.
Oh, what about the Darksaber giveaway? We're giving one away. What are the rules to that, Cole and Matt?
Go ahead, Matt.
Okay. So if you retweet our episode posts on Twitter, you get an entry. If you retweet with some sort of promotion, add your own comments, you get 2 entries. If you send us something from Maul's bag, you get 2 entries. And then if you review on iTunes, Stitcher, etc., you get 5 entries. And like I said, we've gotten a lot of reviews lately. Really appreciate that. So please keep doing that. I'm tallying this and keeping track of, the number of entries. And so obviously the more entries you got, the better chance you have to win. And on episode, whatever that's going to be for us, 19 or something, when we do the last episode of The Mandalorian for season 2, we will reveal the winner, and we might have the Saber Maker on that episode.
Yeah. Now, will you have it tallied so you can be like, okay, Mike had 51 points, and are you going to read that all out? I guess it depends on how many people.
I think I might leave that mystery and just assign them all numbers. What I was trying to figure out is, do I say is Mike, if Mike has 15 entries, is he 1 through 15, or am I spreading them all out so it's just totally randomized? I'm not sure how to do that.
Okay.
We'll figure it out.
All right.
It will be random, though. We'll make Dave pick the number.
I hope Dave wins the Darksaber.
Dave cannot win the Darksaber.
Oh, he can't?
He made the Darksaber. He cannot win the Darksaber. He is ineligible.
That should be your reoccurring joke. You should just pick someone every time and say it.
I told my kids about it, and they're like, well, I want that. I'm like, you are not eligible for the Darksaber.
Yeah. Christmas, buddy. Christmas.
Sorry.
I got 2 for my kids coming.
You're part of the Wookiee Poo family. No saber for you.
No saber for you.
Okay, so listen, everybody who's listening, I hope you win the Darksaber. Let's go to a Factpa Factoid.
Okay.
The planet Tython. Cole, fill us in.
You get the quote from Asoka Tano to Din Djarin. Go to the planet Tython. There you will find the ancient ruins of a temple that has a strong connection to the Force. Fact. Factoid. Tython contained an ancient Jedi temple, which may have been the Order's very first. The temple contained a seeing stone that amplified a Force-sensitive's power in the Force. The Meridional ice cap contained the underground martyrium of frozen tears, which had a Force-sensitive confessional made of solid kyberite. The ice cap was also dotted with ancient statues of robed figures near the martyrium's entrance. In the Star Wars Legends continuity, Tython first appeared in the 2007 novel Darth Bane, Rule of Two, where it was the original homeworld of the Jedi Order and its successor organization, the Jedi Order.
I hope Darth Bane wins the Darksaber.
I was going to say, that's where you get your Jedi from.
Yes.
It was that.
I got a lot of shit rumbling through this 40%er right here. I can't help it, ladies and gentlemen. Remember, it's Ashoka.
Ashoka Katano.
Yeah. And with that, thanks for listening. And until next time,
never tell us the odds.
I am no Jedi.
We have spoken.